And we're underway with Carolina in blue, Tulsa in white. Haywood against Kurtz. And Tulsa will have the first offensive try.
Well, Dick, this is going to be a game if North Carolina can overmatch Tulsa inside and pound it inside and not turn the ball over, they will have some success. Tulsa, on the other hand, must turn the ball over and create the tempo against North Carolina. It must be very fast.
The center, Kurtz, from outside, and you can see how Coley can fly in there for the offensive rebound, but it's off Coley to North Carolina.
Well, Eric Coley can play anybody on the floor with his athleticism. He's a player that can play a guard, two guard, small forward, and today he's playing 6'10", Chris Lang.
This is Lang outside. He's at 6'10". They list him at times at 6'11". Go to inside from Forte. Everyone trying to get a touch on the first possession.
And I really don't understand why they're not going at Eric Coley right away. Brandon Kurtz is a pretty good defender inside, but Chris Lang against 6'5" Eric Coley should not be standing on the perimeter outside the three-point line.
Into Chris Lang. He has a good jump. The pass is to Haywood. Does it count? No! The 35-second clock expired before Haywood could slam it down.
And I know Brandon Haywood is a high percentage shooter, but Chris Lang, who finally goes on the pick and roll, you see the clock at 1 second. He doesn't get it off in time. That was good execution, but a little bit too late.
Marcus Hill on the outside. Here's Coley, not a good outside shooter. Harrington is. Inside to Kurtz over Haywood, and Tulsa leads 2-0 as Brandon Kurtz has the first goal of the game.
Brandon Kurtz has really developed. A lot of people don't look at him as an offensive threat, but he can shoot the ball from the outside. He also has nice little jump hooks inside. He may be the neutralizer against Brandon Haywood, so Chris Lang must be effective early.
Cota into Haywood, and a push from the backside from Kurtz. He has the first foul of the game.
Well, Brandon Kurtz must take away the low post position. He was trying to that time. He had it established early, gave just a little extra push with the hands. Now that's going to be a factor for Coach Bill Self. He must keep Brandon Kurtz out of foul trouble. But 6'11", he's the tallest guy he has, besides D'Angelo McDaniel, who's another big body without a lot of playing time.
This is Forte, the ACC Rookie of the Year. Into Haywood, short jumper. And it's not there. Rebound underneath by Chris Lang, using his height advantage to tie it at 2.
That's going to be a key. North Carolina must use their size, not only posting up, but also on the offensive boards. Now there's Coley over the top of Chris Lang, and Chris Lang is down with an ankle injury. He came down on that ankle. That could be critical. A lot of pain there on the face.
It's Chris Lang, who has been plagued with injuries and illness this past year.
Well, he's going to have trouble playing defense laterally against Eric Coley. Eric Coley very mobile, and Chris Lang not used to playing that type of defense. Right there, looks like he came down just on his own, and he's still down. Eric Coley creating all types of havoc with his athleticism, and Chris Lang not used to playing that type of ball player.
He'll be replaced by the freshman Julius Peppers, the star defensive end on the North Carolina football team. Well, this Lang is just what else can go wrong for him. He came back from Europe, had an illness, was very concerned in a darkened hospital room. Then he had shin splints.
There it is again. Oh, he does come down on Eric Coley's foot there. You're going to watch the right side of your screen. Watch the right foot come down on the left foot of Eric Coley. Right there, he kind of turns it over, but a critical part to this game. Chris Lang will be interesting to see if he'll be able to return.
45, Julius Peppers, who has given Bill Guthridge some terrific minutes, and there he is. He's blocked by Kurtz. Here comes Tulsa leading 4-2. Tony Hurd inside to Kurtz. Solid move by the senior center to give the Golden Hurricane a 4-point early lead.
Now, Dick, those were some Kevin McHale moves out of Minnesota. Great footwork and the body against Haywood. Haywood's going to have to play some defense in the post.
Jason Capel, his father, the coach at Old Dominion, is here to cheer him on. Cota to Peppers. Forte's first shot, well short. Marcus Hill the other way for Tulsa. Fires a 3. Peppers rebounds. He had 6 points and 6 rebounds off the bench in the win against Tennessee.
And without Chris Lang in the game, he would normally turn around and shoot the jump hooks, whereas Julius Peppers not able to shoot over anybody. Turnover inside.
Kurtz fronting Haywood, forces the turnover. Hill takes it inside over Peppers, and a block against the bulky freshman for North Carolina.
Well, that's the quickness of Tulsa, and they're starting to create the tempo. They're getting the ball out in transition, and if you are not ready to play, Julius Peppers late getting over there, and the block is on. Good drive to the basket by Marcus Hill, a lefty, avoiding the charge. Julius Peppers a little late now. You can't afford to get Peppers in foul trouble now either, because you don't know if Chris Lane will be returning. Two power forwards in trouble.
Sugar Hill from Tulsa's B.T. Washington High School, and it's last touched by North Carolina. So the miss by Hill, but another offensive opportunity with Tulsa leading 8-2 early.
North Carolina cannot afford to let Tulsa get out to a big lead. Tulsa is known to get out with their defense, capitalizing on the turnovers of their opponents. They have the ability to jump out 20-5, 20-10 leads early in the game.
They've averaged nearly 21 turnovers a game as Tony Hurd rattles out. Peppers for North Carolina.
One of the main threats taken away from North Carolina with Chris Lane not in the post against the smaller Eric Coley.
And a whistle away from the ball inside will go against Tulsa. And it's on David Shelton, who is just into the game. Shelton is the leading scorer for Tulsa, although a non-starter. Super Dave, the sixth man, averaging just under 14 a game. He's from Cincinnati. 55, D'Angelo McDaniel, the sophomore from Oklahoma City. He's 6'10", comes in. Marcus Hill goes out. So now it's Tulsa with good height on the floor. Forte wide open for an easy basket. His first of the game.
Good execution from baseline out of bounds. But as you mentioned, D'Angelo McDaniel coming into the game at 6'10", another guy who's the second best post-up defender for Tulsa against Haywood.
Excellent block by North Carolina, and it goes off the leg of Tony Hurd. It'll be the Tar Heels ball when we come back. 4 minutes played, 4-point Tulsa lead. North Carolina with the ball. That last block was by the big center, Brendan Haywood. Here's Forte, takes it in for the 10-footer, and it's 8-6. Forte, as a freshman, the leading scorer for North Carolina.
North Carolina responding well to the little half-court trap. They kept the floor spread out and passed the ball without putting it on the floor, and that will work in your favor. Tulsa does a good job when you put it on the floor of getting in and anticipating the passing lanes.
Harrington penetrating the defense. Dishing off underneath. Shelton unable to hit. McDaniel, it rolls out. The freshman or sophomore from Oklahoma City, no luck on his follow shot.
And don't let the height of Tulsa fool you. They had 40 points in the paint in their last outing because they're so active and always moving. They put themselves in great rebounding position.
Now you see how tough and tenacious that Tulsa defense can be as their center, starting center, Brandon Kurtz returns, and McDaniel back out.
But one thing that Tulsa does not want you to do, they don't want that ball to get inside the three-point line. They're very good on the perimeter, but inside you can utilize and expose them inside when you get it off the perimeter.
9 on the shot clock as Jason Capel hits the three, and North Carolina leads for the first time.
One of the key factors of the ball game, Carolina must shoot the high percentage that they shoot. They cannot turn the ball over. Jason Capels has had a great NCAA tournament, shut down Jacobson and Stanford, and now he's shooting the ball well for North Carolina.
Marcus Hill on the back door misses the layup, but is fouled. Brendan Haywood has his first.
Tulsa is so quick. They're so good at making the defense react, and they dictate everything with their defense. But on the offensive end, they really move well without the basketball.
Here's a man, Marcus Hill, has an unusual hobby. He collects athletic shoes. He has over 100 pair of basketball shoes and has 30 of them that he rotates. They're active as Lang comes back into the game. Haywood will be given a breather. That's good news for North Carolina fans as the shoe man Hill tries to give Tulsa the lead and does. 10-9.
There's a lot of foot odor pads in there in that closet.
Didn't need to go down that road.
But it's good to see Lane back, even though he's going to be restricted somewhat with the tight tape job he has on. He's back in the ball game, and apparently he's posting up inside against Brandon Kurtz.
Peppers out to give the outside screen to Capel. There's that Coley, and Coley not quite able to get a full grip on the ball, and as Capel pulled away, he drew the foul the first time Coley.
Well, one thing you're not going to be able to do is put the ball on the floor against Tulsa. You must learn to pass the ball around the perimeter, and that's even difficult the way they anticipate the passing lanes. They switch everything. See, they don't mind switching any size. Then they get you in a position where you can't do anything, like in the corners.
Peppers and Capel playing catch with 17 on the clock. Tulsa leads 10-9 early here at the University of Texas. Capel, well done, and North Carolina back in front by one.
Well, Dick, every time you notice the ball out of Ed Cota's hands, you're going to see the struggling Tar Heels trying to get into some offense. Capels has the ability to create off the dribble.
Shelton for three, and over the back is Coley. And that's going to cost Eric Coley, the defensive star for Tulsa, his second foul. At the 13:29 mark, Coley will come out.
Well, Jason Capels has been a very critical aspect of this ball club because he does have size and he can put the ball on the floor. When Chris Lang was out with his injuries, he had to play a little power forward, so he's accustomed to different styles.
Greg Harrington returns for Coley, and now Tulsa is really small.
North Carolina with one of their smaller lineups, with the exception of Chris Lane. They have Peppers at 6'7", a little smaller, that can play big.
And Forte got himself trapped in the corner. That's lethal, and Hurd took it away. Kurtz at the other end. Knocked away, and Forte up with it for the Tar Heels.
Well, Dick, there are certain areas on this basketball floor where you cannot get the ball against Tulsa. Any four corners they're going to trap, and they do it well, usually forcing a turnover.
Cota unable to hit the Cota floater. Harrington to the other end, and the foul. Now they're going to call it a travel on Greg Harrington, the sophomore point man. Bill Self not at all happy with the no foul call.
Well, a lot of players try to get away with dragging that last foot. You know, they take the legal 2 steps, but then they drag the foot along, and referees are spotting that.
Inside to Lang. The jump hook is specialty. It's knocked out of bounds by Tulsa. Tulsa started with a lead, hitting 4 out of 6 from the floor, but they're 0 for 5 since, as North Carolina with a 9-2 run. Julius Peppers out, and Haywood returns.
And those of you who are watching this very stingy Tulsa defense, you notice when the ball goes inside to a post player, the guard that's passing through will double back and try to steal the ball, and there's a turnover as
Shelton
we speak.
Feeds it ahead to Hill. Hill underneath to Kurtz, and Tulsa leads 12-11.
See, they're just so tenacious. Look at the denial of Cota.
Those are the fans at the Reynolds Center at the University of Tulsa, that sparkling new facility. Some 5,000 cheering in unison from a few hundred miles to the north. Knocked away, but right to Cota, out to Capel for 3. Rebound Kurtz. Kurtz with 6 points to lead Tulsa early. Harrington. Oh, what a pretty move. Greg Harrington. .5 minutes to play in this first half. Tulsa by 3.
Right now, Tulsa's creating the tempo. Carolina cannot afford to let Tulsa force the turnovers, and then they capitalize on them.
Forte, tough shot for the freshman.
Looked like he was in orbit when he made that shot. Just off balance. What an athlete, and that's something that must be done against this pressure defense. You got to find the gaps and attack immediately. You just can't find the open areas and hold on to the ball. You got to do something with it.
Tulsa playing without Eric Coley, although he's checking in now at the scorer's table. 2 fouls on Coley in the early minutes. Kurtz with 6 points already.
Look at the move. Step under. Oh, Brandon Kurtz demonstrating some great footwork, down work. He said that he was not afraid to play against North Carolina, and there's a cheap foul on Shelton.
David Shelton nails Brendan Haywood as they went back to the other end, and the foul on Shelton, who appeals his case. 8 points for 6'10" center Brandon Kurtz to lead Tulsa to a 16-13 lead. Eric Coley leading the Tulsa Cheers.
Or either the big fella's been taking some pretty good acting classes.
So 5 team fouls on Tulsa, only 2 North Carolina. As Haywood wide open for the throwdown, and 16-15, his first points.
So far, both teams are doing what they must do. North Carolina pounding it inside, Tulsa forcing the turnovers.
Hill with a drive over Haywood. It's 18-15, 5 points for Marcus Hill.
And that's taking it right into the teeth of the defense over Haywood. And that's the quickness of Tulsa. They're very explosive, and they don't hesitate on the offensive end.
Dante Shelton, number 12, the smallest of the Golden Hurricane at 5'10", is in the game. And there's the steal by Coley. And he dribbled the ball on the sidelines. Coley, who has set a new Tulsa record for steals. Paul Pressey's record erased, and a new WAC record for most steals, as Tim Hardaway's mark is no longer in the book.
Well, there's the out-of-bounds play, and you can see his foot barely touches the line. But Eric Coley, you cannot put the ball on the floor. He's all over the place. It reminds me of a rover or safety on a football field. The guy that can just go out and do whatever he wants to, and he does it well for Tulsa.
Julius Peppers back in for North Carolina. Chris Lang back on the bench. Inside, almost thrown away. A good job by Capel to save on the tap to Forte.
Well, see, subconsciously in your mind, because of the scouting report and the video, before you make a pass, you're thinking about where they may be or what lane they might be anticipating. Getting very physical down low with Kurtz and Haywood.
Down to 5 on the clock. The pass to Peppers. Beautiful assist from Cota, the all-time assist leader for North Carolina. He's led the ACC 4 consecutive years.
And that's the leadership that Cota knows he must supply for the Tar Heels, setting people up, running the offense, recognizing what must be done on both ends of the floor.
Coley with a short jumper, not there, tapped out of bounds by Kurtz of Tulsa.
Well, on that last play, Dick, Peppers, who can jump. Now you're going to see Ed Cota come off the pick of Haywood, and the defense tries to anticipate. North Carolina doing a good job of beating Tulsa on the secondary offense.
Off the bench, this defensive end for North Carolina, the freshman Peppers, in his last 25 shots has made 19, most of those from close range to be sure, but he's really given some unexpected big help to North Carolina. And a foul underneath brings Bill Self to his feet as Kurtz goes down, and I believe it's going to be on the big center for blocking.
Well, I'm not sure if he called a personal foul on one player or a double foul on both, but they're both for battling. Brandon Kurtz will not back down. He said it himself. He is not afraid of the tradition of the Tar Heels, and he's showing some toughness in the post.
It is a double foul. Each man now with the second foul. Brendan Haywood with 2, and his counterpart Brandon Kurtz with 2, and Kurtz will be rested.
Well, Haywood and Kurtz cannot afford to get in foul trouble. 2 big guys that produce for both teams.
North Carolina trailing Tulsa by a single point with 8:45 left in this opening half. Cota spurned the jump shot in the lane.
Just keep an eye on Coley. He's always anticipating. He always stays around the basketball. There he is right there, coming again.
And a reach-in foul as Capel tried to maneuver for the jumper. And it'll go on Tony Hurd, his first.
When you speak of Tulsa's big man in Brandon Kurtz and North Carolina's big guy in Brendan Haywood, you wonder which team could afford to lose the other. In this game, I don't think either can afford. Brandon Kurtz has already proven he can score over Haywood, and Haywood, we know he shoots a high percentage at 73%, so both teams need their big guys today.
Capel ties it at 18. Carolina now in the 1-1, and the Tar Heels have committed only 3 team fouls, so the early jump for Bill Guthridge's team at the charity line.
And Chris Lang comes back into the ball game. Now he has a nice jump hook inside and can score, but you wonder with that tape job on it so tight whether he has the lift that he feels comfortable with without thinking about it when he gets the ball in post.
Capel with the 2 free throws, now 5 in the game, and North Carolina back in front 19-18. There's Jason's father, who is the head coach at Old Dominion, Jeff Capel, and another son, Jeff Jr., was a standout and captain at Duke University, a basketball family.
And I can tell you from experience, having your family around, particularly in the NCAA tournament, in town with you, whether you're too big to admit it, it really makes a big difference when you have particularly mom and dad who knows you better than anybody.
McDaniel back in, the young center, as the long jumper by Marcus Hill, and Max Owens, just in for North Carolina, fouled him, and that'll send the Tulsa outside shooter to the line for 3.
Well, you have to respect Marcus Hill's outside presence. He can knock the shot down, but you don't want to foul a player out that far and give him 3 opportunities at the free throw.
Tatai at 19 misses the first. Following today's action, get online and chat live with Clark Kellogg at 8:30 Eastern Time. He'll wrap up this weekend's action and look ahead to the Final Four. Just click on chats at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online keyword CBS Sportsline. You can bet Clark Kellogg will have some meaty comments for you to chew on heading toward the Final Four.
Clark Kellogg, the computer with tennis shoes. That's what I call him. He's got it all upstairs.
2 out of 3 for Marcus Hill, and Tulsa back in front, 20-19.
So far, Ed Cota has demonstrated poise and patience setting up the Tar Heels. Now, this is where they must take advantage. When you get Tulsa in a set defense, even though they're scrambling and switching, you slow the tempo down, get the ball in Cota's hands. Now is where they have trouble.
Cota up the lane, trying to set up Chris Lang, and Lang bobbles it out of bounds. Timeout, 7:44 left before the intermission. Tulsa by 1. Still Bill when he was a point guard in high school and at Oklahoma State. Bill Self. A lot of rumors surrounding him regarding the opening at Georgia Tech. Too high for Eric Coley, the pass from Harrington. Forte back in the game for North Carolina with the ball.
North Carolina saving their energy a little bit and going to a zone, but with Coley's leaping ability, you have to watch for alley-oops. That one was there just a little bit too high. Now this is where Tulsa has the advantage. They put the ball out of Ed Cota's hands, and you'll watch the pressure and the denial of Tulsa's stingy defense.
Capel had to fight for that shot, and the rebound taken away from Harrington by Coley to Hurd. Deflected outside to Marcus Hill. He's short, and Capel.
But you see the shot that North Carolina was forced into taking. Ed Cota was denied. He needs to have the basketball 95% of the time because Tulsa will capitalize without Ed Cota handling it.
6:45 remaining in the first half. A 1-point game. Tulsa in the lead. Cota slips inside, and North Carolina on the 7th lead change of the first half jumps up 21-20.
And that's a smart play by Ed Cota because he realizes now that they're trying to take the perimeter away, so they're playing defense on the top side, and he's able to cut back door. The zone for North Carolina kind of slows Tulsa down a little bit. They don't get a chance to utilize their quickness unless they're driving in the gap and pass it off like that. Missed layup.
Long pass to the other end to Capel. Can he save? Yes, to Peppers. What a shot! My, oh my, this big 270-pound football star. His agility underneath to rescue the pass and make 2.
A guy that size with that much soft hands, the ability to create that shot for himself under the basket with the softest of touch.
Peppers faked by Hill, who comes up short on his jumper, and Forte hands off to Ed Cota.
Julius Peppers may not be the most valuable player on this team, but I think he's been the most valuable addition as a walk-on to come on and produce like he has.
A takedown inside as Lang took the pass. Shelton with a foul.
Well, Julius Peppers doing it all for North Carolina. Look at the pass to Cota off the back door, relieving the pressure. And then look at the soft move. Good save by Jason Capel. And then Julius Peppers in desperation with the soft touch. It looked like he had a little infant in his hand. He just kind of laid it in the basket.
Yeah, this young man led the Carolina football team as a freshman in 10 tackles for a loss. Also had 6 sacks, 50 total tackles. Front end is missed by Chris Lang, and out of bounds to North Carolina as they get a break.
Well, one thing, when you're playing with a sore injury, particularly the ankle, you always feel it on every little move you make, particularly at the free throw line, when you have to bend down a little bit. Anytime you have to give yourself a little lift, and that's something that some players can block out. Right now, Chris Lang is still feeling a little pain and is affecting his shots.
And there's a lane violation against Chris Lang of North Carolina.
Well, the inability to move like he wants to. It all started when he had to defend Eric Coley, and he's not used to playing 6'5" guys who make him move laterally. That time he could not get out of the lane. We wonder how much pain he's experiencing.
Charlie Davis at 6'7", Kevin Johnson at 6'7", now in for Tulsa. Shelton picked up his third foul moments ago. He's their leading scorer. He's gone to the bench. Different lineup for Bill Self as Swanson from outside, and the little sharpshooting guard from Wagner, Oklahoma has the three, and the game is tied again.
Well, Swanson is known as a defensive specialist, but he can also score. Playing inside.
Left-handed jump hook is short. They forced him a little farther away from the basket than he wanted to be. Hurd to Swanson, a very difficult floater, and he connects, and he is fouled.
Well, one thing for sure, if you're playing against Tulsa, they're going to play with a lot of intensity for 40 minutes, and you see the activity going to the basket. They catch the defense sleeping. You can't sleep on defense. You got to be alert at all times. Don't take a rest, even if you're on the weak side with all the cutting and slashing of Tulsa. Swanson did an excellent job of catching the defense sleeping that time.
Haywood for Lang on the front line for Bill Guthridge's North Carolina team. Swanson going for a three-point play and his 6th point of the game, and that matches the high for Tulsa. 26-23.
Watch the pressure by Greg Harrington, and they'll deny Ed Cota. They'll deny the perimeters. Cota did a good job of getting open, though. Takes the shot from three, man.
Batted out by Haywood. Forte from the corner for three, and it's tied again. 26 with 4 to go in the first half.
Forte been relatively quiet the last few minutes. He needs to exercise his talents if the Tar Heels are going to be complete.
Forte with 9 points to lead North Carolina. Hurd, and it's Peppers blocking out and latching on to another rebound for North Carolina, and here comes Forte.
For those of you watching good defense, watch Tony Hurd on Ed Cota. He's really trying to deny.
Cota can't get inside, denied, and with a good defense, he traveled. 8th turnover for Tulsa. 3:35 left in the first half. Chris Lang's condition, spraining the ankle in the early minutes of the game. Tied at 26 with 3.5 minutes to play in this first half.
North Carolina has gone to the zone the last few defensive possessions, and it's been pretty successful. Tulsa would rather play an up-tempo game, but they'll find a way eventually with Coley over the top or driving in the gaps to break the zone.
This is Marcus Hill, the left-hander. Davis inside, but he can't get it away from North Carolina's Brendan Haywood.
Well, it makes it very difficult to box someone out, because when you're in the zone, you're playing areas, and with the athletic ability of Tulsa, they still can find gaps to rebound.
Into Haywood. Kevin Johnson now the postman defensively for Tulsa. Forte, what a move by the sensational freshman who played for Morgan Wooten at DeMatha High School.
They're such a mature player. He realizes that they're not getting anything in size, and the only way they're going to be effective is he can take them off the dribble.
Tony Hurd with a tray, and it's Tulsa by 3.
Tony Hurd, just the toughest player on Tulsa's team. He and Eric Coley, but when it comes to competition and competitive toughness, Tony Hurd always wants to play the tough guys.
He's got the scowl of a boxer, doesn't he?
He does.
Haywood to Cota, slips along the baseline, and North Carolina back in front 30-29 as it seesaws throughout this entire first half.
And I had a chance to talk to Phil Ford over the week about Ed Cota, and he said Ed Cota must score. He has the ability, but doesn't look to score as much against Tulsa. And from here on out, he's got to think score.
Cota has 4 points. Swanson with the ball has 6 off the bench for Tulsa. Haywood above the crowd to embrace another rebound. A minute and a half to go. 4 rebounds for the 7-footer Haywood.
Well, the zone is working for North Carolina, and that's what you want to do against Tulsa. You want to get them into a set type of a game. North Carolina has slowed the tempo down, and Brendan Haywood is starting to assert himself on the defensive end, altering shots and getting the aggressive rebound.
Forte's miss, rebounded by Charlie Davis. Hurd beat the defense back and has another tray. 5 points for Tony Hurd. Now they're going to call that a 2. Foot on the line. So it's 31-30 Tulsa.
Another guy starting to exert himself, and you're right, Dick. They're getting that ball up before the zone can get set, and they're getting up the shots that are there for them.
25 seconds between the shot clock and game clock, and Peppers can't handle the lob from Cota. Turnover to Tulsa. Pennzoil at the half coming up. Greg and Clark will have a preview of the Gators and the Cowboys and an inside look at Oklahoma State sensational Desmond Mason. Timeout with 41 seconds remaining in the first half. And the University of Tulsa leads North Carolina 31-30.
As they have been able to keep it close. Tulsa's capable of getting out to big starts, and North Carolina's kept this game close, and that works into their favor as they stay in this zone and slow down the tempo.
The long shot is short. Comes out to Julius Peppers, as unable to hit was Tony Hurd. And so North Carolina with a game clock off. Shot clock off. Will go for the final shot and the possible lead at the intermission. And Cota, he's going to distribute it. Gets it to Lang with 4 seconds. Blocked beautifully by Charlie Davis. The long shot off the front of the rim by Tony Hurd from about 55 feet. And that's the end of a very exciting and entertaining opening half. They go to the locker rooms with Tulsa leading North Carolina.
Joseph Forte, 5 of 7.
I saw Chris Lang will start the second half. Turned his ankle in the early minutes, but Lang and Haywood inside, the 2 big men for the Tar Heels, each scored only 2 points in the first half, while even though he was straddled with a couple of early fouls, Brandon Kurtz had 8 points, while Haywood gets his first 2 of the second half in the first 10 seconds.
Well, the Tar Heels are not going to stop going inside just because Brendan Haywood only had 2. That time they were able to get it over the top. Brendan Haywood does such a great job of keeping the ball up, keeping Tulsa's defense away from him on the weak side.
Haywood with a block as Coley goes up, and Haywood rejects his second block of the game.
Well, at the end of the half, Brendan Haywood was starting to exert himself, and he's continuing that on the defensive end. He hadn't scored a lot, but his presence is definitely felt under the basket.
Hurd having trouble getting the ball inbounds. Finally to Kurtz. North Carolina 32, Tulsa 31, just underway in the second half.
Well, there's no question that North Carolina has found success with this zone. They ran it about 7 minutes in the first half, and it's working here in the second half as well. A tough miss over the top.
Coley with a jump hook. Forte inside. Lang with a jump hook, and it dances in, and North Carolina with the first 2 baskets of the second half.
And that's the second time he's been able to take advantage of Coley. One was an offensive board, that one was a jump hook. Coley can't match that over the top.
Kurtz can't get off the shot. It's Harrington for 3, and it's not there to Cota in the corner. Here comes North Carolina leading 34-31.
North Carolina has been able to control the tempo. I talked to Coach Guthrie's. He said that was going to be critical for this ball game, not to get his players running gun, but look at Forte on the offensive glass.
6 unanswered points to start the second half for North Carolina, and Bill Self at the Tulsa Golden Hurricane calls time. North Carolina with its biggest lead, 36-31. Not been an easy year for him, and the Tar Heel fans were very critical of a club that went 18-13, finished 9-7 in the conference, but they're making amends here in the tournament. Off to a great start here in the second half. Kurtz, not there. Rebound, Capel. So one shot for Tulsa on their 4 trips, and all were misses, and North Carolina scoring each time at the other end.
Well, the zone has given North Carolina a collective effort on the rebounding edge, and Tulsa cannot use their quickness against North Carolina's man-to-man. The zone has been effective.
There's the 10th turnover for Tulsa. Hurd to Harrington. Hurd inside. Back to Harrington for 3. Kurtz with a second chance. No whistle. And the rebound to Forte. So Tulsa cold to start this second half.
Tulsa's had some good looks at the bucket, particularly Harrington. He's missed a couple of threes. They've got some offensive boards. They haven't been able to convert. North Carolina, on the other hand, has found some confidence in the zone defense.
Haywood with Kurtz. Tulsa 0 for 5 at the start of the second half. There's the hook by Haywood and the rebound to Coley of Tulsa.
Very important for North Carolina not to get complacent. There's a little push out foul by Chris Lang at top.
Lang with a foul. That's his first. One number 8 team, James Worthy, is already advanced as the big surprise to the Final Four. Dick Bennett's University of Wisconsin Badgers, number 6 in the Big Ten, and they're in the Final Four. Boy, how thrilled they are up in the state of Wisconsin.
And I'll tell you what, you know, they're very happy. They've gone to the Rose Bowl. Now they have a team in the Final Four. And those who are familiar with the game of basketball know it's no secret what Coach Bennett has done up in Wisconsin. That's a solid program.
Coley kept the ball alive, then Kurtz with a rebound. Back to Kurtz against Haywood and draws the foul. That'll be the third on Brendan Haywood.
Well, Tulsa finding out how to manipulate the North Carolina zone, and they're getting the ball inside with some good interior passes. Brendan Haywood and Chris Lang not as quick as Cota and Forte and Capels on the perimeter. They're good shot blockers, but they're having trouble with the interior passes.
Kurtz trying to end the drought to open this second half. 3 minutes 24 seconds, and Tulsa yet to score. There it is, his 9th point to make it 36-32.
And a lot of people are aware of Tulsa's stingy defense, but North Carolina, a pretty good defensive team.
Final Four.
What a great comeback by Michigan State. Mateen Cleaves, Mo Peterson. They really believe. A lot of teams think they have a chance, but Michigan State really believes they're going to win it this year. Very strong ball club.
Partially blocked, but a foul as Forte went up with a jumper, and it'll go against Marcus Hill or Greg Harrington.
Forte starting to put the ball on the dribble, and I'm sure that's something that Coach Gutcher's talked about in practice. We need more guys attacking the basket. You can't hold the ball against Tulsa, and Forte, Capels, along with Cota, have demonstrated that they need to take it to the basket.
Foul is on Harrington. His first. Joseph Forte, it's not by a coincidence he wears 4T. He has throughout his basketball life. Started with a bang, 24 against the Trojans of Southern California, and he's the leading scorer for North Carolina on the season and today with 15.
Broke my old roommate's record. Sam Perkins' his most points as a freshman.
38-34 North Carolina. Tulsa the number 7 seed. And there's Cota giving Tulsa some of its own medicine. 3-on-2 break. Forte to Peppers, back to Forte, who'll try the 3. Lang, good hustle to get the rebound.
And Tulsa's having a tough time penetrating the zone of North Carolina, and therefore North Carolina controls the tempo, and they come on the offensive end, and they're executing well, take full advantage of the shot clock.
North Carolina fans cheering the second and third efforts by their rebounders as they have out-rebounded Tulsa 25-16. Foul on Hurd, his second. Here's David Shelton, the instant offense back in for Bill Self. Greg Harrington goes out.
Now Tulsa's going to have to find a way to get inside North Carolina's zone, either by driving the gaps or throwing some alley-oop passes off the back.
Hurd and Cota. Forte hits the side of the board, And Hurd brings it to the other end for the Golden Hurricane. Shelton inside over Lang, and he is instant offense. It's his first points of the game, but he's averaging 14.
Well, he's the sixth man off the bench, but leaves Tulsa in scoring.
Capel quickly at the other end. And the foul before the shot on Eric Coley, his third.
North Carolina continuing to pound the ball inside. Capel's even getting the transition going.
It was a shooting foul, no basket. Capel, 6'8", played at St. John's at Prospect Hall, Chesapeake, Maryland. Here comes Haywood back in for Lang.
And so far, North Carolina has done a pretty good job of rotating Haywood and Lang. They're resting them in between their rotations.
Their best free throw shooter, North Carolina, hits 1 out of 2 and has 8 points. 39-36. Tar Heels leading the Hurricane.
North Carolina back in a man-to-man. That means David Shelton is the guy they're going to be looking for against Peppers.
And that'll be a hold, I believe, on Cota as Hurd made his drive. Cota's first.
Well, Cota may be the senior leader for North Carolina, but Tony Hurd's a senior also as well, and this was his moment. I had a chance to talk to him earlier, and he said, look, this is my senior year, and I don't want it to be our last game as well.
It's Hill from the corner for 3, and Marcus Hill ties it at 39. 6 minutes into the second half, we're even again. 11 points for Hill.
Good recognition by Tulsa to run the baseline behind the zone, and that's where you're going to find some openings.
Cota outside to Capel for 3, well off the mark. Peppers with another valuable offensive board for North Carolina. And then a line drive jumper from Joseph Forte, leading all scorers. Forte now with 17.
Tulsa can't afford to give up second opportunities. There's a foul inside on Peppers, a little bit too aggressive against Shelton. And that's a matchup I think is going to be very interesting because Shelton can score off the dribble. He can post up and shoot over the top. Peppers a little bit too aggressive. Going to have to watch his fouls against Shelton.
Second foul on Peppers, 4th team foul on North Carolina. Tulsa with 4 as well.
And this is where Tulsa will take advantage of you. North Carolina going back into the man-to-man. There's Shelton with the jumper, but on the miss.
Fake Peppers, but Peppers recovers to collect the rebound, and here comes Cota with North Carolina leading by 2. 7 ties and 13 lead changes. It's been a terrific game, this regional final in the South. And the foul is Haywood just too big and too strong, and that could be on Coley. He was in the area. If it is, it'd be number 4.
Well, what Brendan Haywood is doing well is he's taking care of the basketball. I'm sure he's been pre-warned that they're going to come and try to suffocate you. Hold on tight, there'll be some openings. That time he was able to get the shot off with the foul.
That's a very difficult whistle to hear if you're a Tulsa fan. Number 4 on Coley. Haywood misses the free throw. Coley will come out. And Harrington and Swanson return for Tulsa.
Well, North Carolina loves to throw the ball over the top. That time Shelton couldn't get there. And then Coley comes in last with the reach in, grabbing the arms of Brendan Haywood. And you hate to see your most athletic and your tough player leave the game with 13 minutes to go. Haywood 0 for 2 from the line.
Looking for the tying basket. Tulsa sends it inside to Kurt. And he saves it for Tulsa. Harrington for the lead. And the rebound to Cota. Cota, as a guard, has 4.5 rebounds a game. His value is full court. 12.5 to go. North Carolina 41, Tulsa 39.
Tulsa kind of playing a little matchup zone. They had Shelton down there on the double team with Kurtz.
Peppers with a 10-footer. Not there. Kurtz holds it in for Tulsa. Here come the Golden Hurricane, down by 2.
Both teams a little cold. I really think the team that really makes a serious spurt here in the second half, can create a lead. Both teams in the last 3 minutes or so having a hard time converting 2 points.
Julius Peppers, credit him with the turnover. Into Haywood, partially blocked by Kurtz. Shelton with a rebound.
Well, they've gone to the well quite a bit now. This is a situation where a senior like Ed Cota, who's led this team, has to take over a little earlier in this ball game off the dribble.
Shelton blocked by Haywood, his third. Shelton takes it right back at him, but he fouls. Shelton with a charge, his fourth. Oh my, Bill Self having to swallow some tough calls against his team. 2 of his stars now with 4 fouls. On the bench with 4 personal fouls.
And that's not good. However, Tulsa's defense is quick enough and good enough to still create some problems for North Carolina, but you definitely need your leading scorer and your toughest and most athletic and leader player in Eric Coley on the floor.
11 minutes left. North Carolina by 2, down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Forte, stop and fire, not there. Hurd has it knocked away by Forte. Great recovery by the freshman, and he gets it out to Haywood. And Haywood calling timeout. 10:48 left in the second half. Tar Heels 41, Hurricane 39.
Patrick Ewing, the dominance of Georgetown, that was a big upset in '85.
Number 8 seed North Carolina, number 7 seed Tulsa in a 2-point game with 10:40 left in the second half. And a new 35 seconds. The ball kicked by Swanson.
And the question now is, can North Carolina take advantage of Tulsa's without Shelton and Coley in the ball game? The defense of Tulsa is good regardless, but Carolina must find a way to take advantage.
Sophomore D'Angelo McDaniel hawking Haywood inside. Haywood spin move, and it's blocked and then knocked out of bounds by Haywood. So here comes Tulsa with a chance to tie or take the lead. Eric Coley reduced to a cheerleader.
Well, look at the weak side help coming over from Kevin Johnson. That's something that Haywood must do. He must go immediately, because if he sits in there and waits for the defense, he'll be blindsided from the weak side.
Kevin Johnson is only 6'7", giving away 5 inches to Haywood, but with a big block.
No one has been able to score here in the last few minutes. There's a shot from the top of the key by Johnson on the miss.
Boy, does that Peppers go up for a 270-pounder.
Look at his calves, and it looks like he has a pogo sticks in there. He really can get up for a guy that size. And I remember playing pickup ball with Lawrence Taylor, and he was another guy with a lot of agility, and must transfer over from football to basketball, and they must help each other.
Coda's miss taken by Greg Harrington, trying to go coast to coast, and Capel didn't travel, although he was scooting underneath as he brought in the rebound.
Well, he kept that pivot foot down as he rotated his body around, but North Carolina nor Tulsa has been able to penetrate the defense, and that's with Eric Coley and Shelton out of the game for Tulsa.
Tulsa last basket was 5 minutes ago, and yet they trail by only 2. Forte short on the tray. Swanson slips down court to tie it up. Less than 9 minutes to go. Tied at 41.
Well, Fortes has some good looks, but I think sometimes you have to pump fake and drive to the basket if you're not hitting the outside shot.
And a whistle inside. The foul will be on Johnson of Tulsa, the freshman from Missouri City near Houston. Here's an interesting story. Homeschooled since the 5th grade, as we see the changes made. Johnson, and actually played on the Homeschool Christian Youth Association Warriors for 4 years. So from homeschool now to the bench, Kevin Johnson. He's a valued freshman with Tulsa. At the line, Julius Peppers. Peppers just an average free throw shooter, 57%. You want to see him in action? Watch number 49, the defensive end at 6'7" and 275 pounds, terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. Peppers with a couple of his 6 sacks that led the Tar Heels, and he made the first-team freshman All-America. Hits both free throws, and he had been averaging only 57%. Chris Lang will replace him. 6 points and 6 rebounds for Peppers. Those are the exact numbers he registered in the Tennessee win Friday night.
Well, with his size, you would think he wouldn't have the agility or the finesse, but he can show you both. He can show you the physical game, and when he has to, he can finesse it a little.
Inside to Kurtz. Batted away by Forte. Cota 2-on-1. Forte takes it in. And North Carolina leads 45-41. 19 for the freshman Forte.
One of the few fast break points for either team, but Carolina getting their hands on the basketball inside too, deflecting.
Yeah, Forte made the steal and earned that easy two. Having trouble holding on to it in the lane, and Cota's got the quickest hands, and here come the Tar Heels.
They have numbers.
Kurt Lang is blocked by the much shorter Marcus Hill, and Hill takes it the other way and draws the foul from Forte. Second on Forte. North Carolina 45, Tulsa 41, less than 8 to go in Austin. Tulsa with a 4-point deficit at the 7:45 mark. Inside to the little man Swanson, who is producing. Up high is Forte at 6'4" to pick off his 8th rebound. What a game Forte, the freshman, has had for North Carolina. He's been their star.
Well, I think the key word is maturation. This young kid has been around before. He's not playing like a freshman. Swanson getting a good look. That's about the only good look they're going to get in that zone. They must knock that down inside the paint.
Chewing up some clock now in this possession, down to 13. And there's the steal by Hurd, and Cota takes it right back. Capel having trouble, finally clears it out, and the clock ticks down to the 7-minute mark, and Forte hit from behind, and the foul will be on number 12, Dante Swanson, his first.
What great recognition and instinct by Ed Cota. He turned the ball over for a steal, was able to anticipate the pass down court, get it back for North Carolina. Forte, though, the player that's really starting to be aggressive. He's looking for the basketball. He's been able to find his shots. And as quick as Tulsa is, they have not been able to deal with the smooth play of Joseph Forte.
Peppers returns for Lang. You saw Eric Coley back in now for Tulsa. 20 points for this sensational freshman. Scored more points than Perkins, and now with his scoring in the tournament, he's going to pass Phil Ford as the highest scoring freshman in North Carolina history, and the first freshman to ever lead the Tar Heels in scoring.
And I tell you, that system has come a long way. There's rarely a freshman that comes in and scores a lot of points his first year. It's just never been a part of North Carolina's system. Shows you how they've changed over the years.
Sheldon in the game, can't hit the three, and there's Peppers ripping down another rebound, defying Tulsa to get it from him.
Tulsa has not been able to get the tempo going. North Carolina slowed them down with the zone, and then they're executing extremely well.
Forte feeling it, and he gets it again. 23. That's a good number for a North Carolina shooter. 23 points for Forte, and North Carolina celebrates its biggest lead.
And you know who the man is going to be. He's already feeling the fact that this is going to be his team next year. Forte, the future for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, they might just want him to play point guard. Huh?
I think he'd do well at it, work on his ball handling skills. No one can stop him at the point guard position if he handles it.
Harrington inside. Kurtz, and Tulsa needs a bucket. Coley couldn't get inside. Kurtz. Oh, this defense from North Carolina, underrated, and they forced the turnover. A lot of talk about the size and the comeback and the tough season and the offensive shooting, but not many raves for North Carolina's defense, but that's why they're here today.
There's no question about it. They haven't scored well this year, but they have rebounded and defended, and there's Forte from three.
And Capel able to get the rebound and another chance for North Carolina.
And North Carolina was able to hold Tulsa to just a stingy percentage in the first half.
Forte handles the ball so well that can create for himself. Down to 15 now on the shot clock. 5.5 minutes left in the game. Haywood over Kurtz. And another basket for North Carolina, and they're opened a 10-point lead. Biggest for either team.
Well, North Carolina is a down-the-stretch ball club. They've exemplified and showed that against Missouri, against Stanford, and against Tennessee that they play well down the stretch. There's Coley over the top with a banker.
And a nice kiss for Coley, and Tulsa desperately needed that basket. 6 for Coley, 51-43.
But if you've noticed the tempo in this half, it's been controlled by Ed Cota, even though Tulsa's trying to pressure. Forte
on the run, he scores again. 25 for Forte. And that is his all-time high. No, he's too shy of his best ever against Virginia as a freshman.
Well, if you want to beat the pressure, you got to get the ball in the middle of the floor, and that's what Forte is. Cota is being pressured. They're breaking Capels and Forte to the middle, and from there they're attacking the defense of Tulsa.
The Tar Heel blue and the pom-poms now as the fans stand cheering North Carolina. Haywood, that's not the shot that Guthridge would have wanted him to take.
Well, you don't want to get excited. You don't want to play outside of your game. That time Haywood was a little bit far out. There's Hurd.
Tony Hurd, a hopeful 3 for Tulsa. 53-46.
We want to talk about coaching. You look at Bill Self now. He's giving instructions almost every play along with Coach Guthridge. That's what you call coaching on your feet. You throw the game plan away, and it's all experience.
Down to the 3:45 mark. Hurd comes out on Forte. Jason Capel with Hill into Haywood. Kurtz bumping him. 10 on the shot clock.
Got to look for someone else other than Haywood. Now Capel, and there's the guy that needs the ball with 4 seconds left. He's got to go.
Forces the shot, and the rebound to Kurtz. Trailing by 7. Golden Hurricane, 3:20 left in the second half. Harrington. And the block will be on Peppers of North Carolina, his 3rd. And with it a timeout, 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. North Carolina 53, Tulsa 46. With the score 53-46, play resumes. 3 minutes 15 seconds, plenty of time for Tulsa, but they need to be productive on each turn. Hurd is short. Look at Coley get up and take it away from Cota.
Yeah, Cota had that rebound, but Eric Cota came from nowhere to snatch that one out of the air.
Kurtz. And the tip by Coley, and finally controlled by Haywood of North Carolina. Less than 3 minutes. 7-point Tar Heel lead.
Control. Control. That is the key word for the Tar Heels. Not to protect the lead, but control and execution.
Ooh, Peppers almost threw it away. Capel saved him. This defense has been the story for North Carolina, holding Tulsa to 20% shooting in the second half. 20%. Inside to Haywood. Maneuvering Kurtz, right hand, not there. Haywood gets it back. 6 points for Brendan Haywood and a 9-point lead.
And he's holding his leg a little bit. He seems to be okay, but it looked like he may have pulled it a little bit as he ran down on defense.
Kurtz at the other end with the answer. Brandon Kurtz for Tulsa. 55-48. Timeout. 2 minutes, 4 seconds left. The winner goes to Indy.
To Forte, they're a little bit similar as well, because Forte has a knack for where the basketball is going to be. Good with steals. And Eric Coley, we know, is a dominant basketball player as far as having a nose for where the ball is.
Dante Swanson is in, and there's the turnover. Hurd picks it off, but it was Swanson who shoots and scores, who set up the steal. 55-50, 1:47 left.
Well, as good a ball handler as Ed Cota is, you got to pass the ball against this press, because if you put it on the floor, Tulsa's going to find it.
Julius Peppers brought it in, and here's Forte.
Tony Hurd, a tough competitor. Now he's looking to reach in, but Cota under control. Not that time. He threw it out of bounds.
1:28 left as Forte kind of threw it between his two teammates, out of control in midair.
Well, Peppers is not used to playing on the perimeter. He's looking to go to the boards. Forte got stuck in the air. You can't leave your feet if you're trying to pass the basketball.
Pass was a little bit too difficult, and Capel came up with a steal for North Carolina. Cota with Swanson hawking him in the backcourt, and the steal! Swanson, oh my, it's 55-52! 12 points for Swanson off the bench to lead Tulsa. We're in the final minute. North Carolina protecting a 3-point lead.
Well, let me tell you something about Swanson. He is a defensive stopper. He is a specialist at defense, regardless of who's handling the basketball. Ed Cota should be aware.
And timeout is called by Bill Guthridge on the North Carolina bench with 37 seconds left.
Move the basketball, not by dribbling, but by passing.
And Swanson's been the star defensively, and with 12 points, the leading scorer. He is their David against the North Carolina Goliath. And it's off the foot. And they're going to call that a kick, so that's a big call because the new 35. And so the shot clock is off. 28 seconds to play.
And I disagree with that call. Cota was trying to throw the pass and accidentally hit the foot of Swanson.
Bill Self didn't like it either. We'll be right back. So North Carolina plays it in. The percentage-wise, the poorest free throw shooter is Julius Peppers. Forte is one of the better shooters, and Greg Harrington fouls him to stop the clock at 26.5.
Well, the key for North Carolina is just getting the ball in bounds and getting the ball up the court without a 10-second violation, because Tulsa has put themselves in a position now where they must foul. If they can foul, well, Peppers is out of the ball game right now, but they'll be looking to foul the worst free throw shooter, but they must stop the clock.
Joseph Xavier Forte looks for his 26th point. 56-52. North Carolina did not have a 4-game winning streak all year. If they win today, it'll be 4 in a row. And Forte matches his high for the season, 27. Swanson fires. Boy, has he played well. 15 for Dante Swanson. The 5'10 freshman keeps Tulsa alive.
Right now.
Capel having trouble. And knocked out of bounds by Greg Harrington. And the count was at 4 seconds. So another try by Capel, and this is where Tulsa shows its strength.
Well, you would think they try to throw it over the top to Haywood, but with the jumping ability of Coley, excuse me, they don't really have that option.
Coley has to foul, didn't want to because he has 4. That sends him out with his 5th, but had to stop the clock. 18 seconds left. 6 points for Eric Coley, disappointed, hoping now that this isn't his last game in a Tulsa uniform. What a terrific young man. He lost his mother 2 years ago. He's battled with that loss, still feels it deeply. Uncle taught him the rodeo tricks. He loves horses, rides so well that he's even thinking if he can't make it beyond this in basketball, that he'll try the rodeo professionally.
Well, from what I understand, he is a original cowboy, and if you're looking for a role model, I mean, forget him being a star athlete. This young man has a lot of character and will do well in life regardless of what he does.
To the line now, Cota. Carolina leads by 2. How big is this free throw? He gets 2. And he's going to need 2. So that means that Tulsa will get a chance. If they can get it down court, even if he makes this one, a 3 would tie. And there's plenty of time, 18 seconds. Now, how big? Huge. It'll take a 3-pointer to tie it. And they've got 3 excellent outside shooters.
Well, the question is, will they try an intentional foul before the 3 goes up?
Rebound, Capel. Seconds tick away. Forte fouled with 4.1 seconds remaining. So Joseph Forte, who has led this maligned North Carolina team, carrying them through this tournament with his great play, and has saved the best for this regional final. 6 for 6 from the line, 27 points in the game, the best scoring freshman in North Carolina history.
And Ed Cota just walked over to the table and told me to tell his father happy birthday, as if this was his father's gift for his birthday. So Mr. Cota, if you're listening, your son just came over and said happy birthday, and he hopes to give you a victory in just about 4 seconds.
Forte needs his free throw, or Tulsa will have a chance for a desperation 3 to tie. That should seal the doom of this spirited Golden Hurricane team that played so well. The long pass. Harrington with the 3, and the game is over. The champions of the South Regional, the improbable Tar Heels of North Carolina, a team that had only 3-game winning streak, was the longest all season. They were crying for Bill Guthridge's scalp. They didn't feel he was capable. He's proved a lot of fans and critics wrong. His team ready to play. They came in as the number 8 seed, and they go to Indianapolis representing the South, winning today 59-55.